Business Express on Smooth Breakfast, and Rotus joins me today. Good morning, Rotus. For the next 15 minutes, we're going to be talking about economic agendas. Can't wait for it. How are you doing today?
I'm good. Good morning, Sope. Good morning to all our listeners, viewers out there. Yeah, let's get into it.
And make sure you join this conversation. You're going to want to. All you need to do is send your WhatsApp messages into 0809 444 981. You can also go up on YouTube. If you're on the app, we are Smooth 981. Just type that in, search for us, and you'll be able to get to Business Express as we stream live. And you can leave your comments up on that live stream. You can also tweet at us at Smooth981FM. Tag us in that tweet so I can read your messages out over the course of the next 15 minutes. Okay, so Rotus.
Yeah, so the Lagos Chamber of Commerce and Industry intended to line up at least who they figured were the candidates with the best chance of becoming president next year and having them lay out their economic agendas so that Nigerians can know exactly what specific plans that the candidates have as far as the economy is concerned. So the plan was to have at the PDP candidates Atiku Abubakar yesterday, Labour Party candidates Pepple today, and then the APC candidates Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu, I think the day after that. But then as it turned out, Pepple pulled out. He postponed didn't give a reason, and said that his date to be communicated at another time. Tinubu's date ended up being October the 28th. So we pushed this back about a month, practically almost November. So it was only Atiku that was left. And unfortunately for us, that analysts who want to compare and contrast, we didn't get to have three plans to look at objectively and say, okay, this is what he wants to do for education, this is what he wants to do for these are what the three candidates want to do on education. This is what they want to do on insecurity. This is what they want to do on taxes and so on. So unfortunately, we only ended up with Atiku. So, and I didn't want to go and look at just one person, but it is what it is. So Nigerians are looking for specifics. So I was live tweeting everything he was talking about yesterday, and I was getting responses. So the key thing, he was talking a lot about the private sector and how his administration, if he was to win, would have what he calls a warm handshake with the private sector, and how he would provide tax rebates. He would try to provide an enabling business environment for the private sector. But it was when he got to infrastructure and the more specific economic stimulus that he, I guess, became a little more specific, but not specific enough. And he mentioned that for infrastructure, he announced a $20 billion infrastructure financing plan. And then he also announced a $10 billion economic stimulus plan. So that's $30 billion in total. And the $10 billion in particular, he said that would happen within his first 100 days in office.
From when?
Thank you. That was the question that just kept, as I was tweeting it, that's what people kept asking. And, in the end, he unfortunately did not give specifics. $10 billion in 100 days, in fact, the 30 billion put together, that's our budget.
Yes, you can sell me that castle in the sky. Thank you very much.
Right. Again, I guess the issues is we're still back to like with Nigerians like yourself, asking what are the concrete, specific ways in which you will do what you are saying you are going to do.
For someone like you, right, when they give us these plans, because first of all, Nigerians at this point, I'm not sure if we have the appetite for more bombastic promises where they're just like, oh, I'm going to build houses and everyone's going to live in them and they'll be low cost and you'll have mortgages, and then it doesn't happen, and now get 10 billions of dollars in 100 days from where we don't know. All fantastic stuff, but what would someone like you want to see in terms of specificity?
Yeah, so and it's not even me, it's you, it's any Nigerian who was looking for this. But what I want to see is, okay, well, how is the funding going to take place? I mean, you're looking at, is it the International Finance Corporation, the IFC? Is it going to be the Nigeria Export Import Bank? It's got to come from a big, source. And the thing is, I mean, Shokwe, if you were the IFC and I'm Nigeria and I'm saying, Shokwe, can you give me $10 billion? You're going to ask, okay, this $10 billion I'm going to give you, how am I going to get it back? Or, if we, what are the ways in which the money will be paid back? So he was talking about power, for instance, and how he was going to remove electricity generation from the exclusive list and give it to the states. So something like that. I mean, if he's saying that he's going to let all states generate their own power independently, if you are an investor in the power sector and you hear that kind of thing, you're like, okay, all right, fine. So I'm going to go into Sokoto, sign some kind of deal with the Sokoto government as a private investor, and then we'll see how power generation can happen. So maybe you would likely to put money in there. But then you have to ask yourself, what is the, what's the, Sokoto, we use a national grid. So if we're going to now go individually and I want to go into Sokoto to go and invest in power there, what kind of infrastructure is there? What kind of money do I need to put in order to invest in power in Sokoto? And then what am I going to charge for the people of Sokoto? Will they be able to pay back? How many of them we have a meter problem right now. Not everybody till today. I mean, it's left the news, and if you notice, nobody talks about it. You don't have a meter. You don't have a prepaid meter. So how do you do? You pay
the gas
billing. Jesus. Oh my, that is
times.
That's you see, so that's a problem. So if you don't have proper meters, you cannot estimate exactly how much people are paying. There are people who still bypass, meters. There are people who chase away, PHCN officials when they try to charge them. So that sector alone, there's so many issues. And we've been subsidizing power for many Nigerians. Tariffs have been going up, but are they reflective? Are the tariffs cost reflective? So, that's all the issues, and that's just power shock. We can talk about power for the rest of the hour now. Then you now get to, jobs. He didn't really give any specifics as to how he would create jobs, but he just kept talking in, general terms. But look, the thing is this: at least he put himself forward, and his plan is being scrutinized. So if anything, you'll give him props for that. The other candidates, well, they have to come forward and they must tell people how they are going to do what they're going to do. Because as you said, Nigerians are tired of hearing all these promises and so on and so forth. And there's so many issues. There are just so many on the economic front. The exchange rates, the lack of jobs, the insecurity situation, the subsidies. He didn't really touch on subsidies. In fact, they said they passed papers around to everybody to write down questions. And I was like, look, okay, what will you do about subsidies? Will you remove them immediately? Will you remove them gradually? Send that in, so we didn't get those answers. So anyway, the campaigns have not kicked off in full. It is our hope, that they will be more specific, and everybody has to do their job. So we in the media have to hold them accountable to keep asking these pressing questions. The individuals, the ordinary Nigerians, everybody has a specific issue that is serious to them, and it has to be, addressed, by these candidates. So that's the thing. So, it's the hope now is that the other candidates at some point will come forward and be able to tell us what they plan on doing. But look, make no mistake, whoever gets into office, look, our debt. He touched on debt.
Tough job ahead of them. And if they're good, they have an even tougher job.
But yeah, exactly. Because they have to make some very hard decisions, unpopular decisions that will not go down well. Look, there are still Nigerians who believe that if all the refineries are working and the Dangote refinery comes on stream, that fuel will remain where it is. So it will still be cheaper, even though oil prices have skyrocketed. So I don't even know how you mentally prepare people for that, to tell them that, look, this is not how this works. So there's that.
It's like what we're doing, right? Because people are listening to us, and we say this constantly on Business Express, on Freshly Pressed, on Lagos Talks, that it's not going to be business as usual, and we can't have these prices for much longer.
Right. And so you think about it.
Refineries.
Yeah, see, look at what's happening in the UK now, in other countries. People are asking for higher salaries because inflation is going up. That is I don't know if I should call it a sophisticated argument, because it should make sense that if prices keep going up, you're going to demand a higher salary. So unions are fighting with governments. They're going on airline people are going on strikes. They're like, pay us more salaries. Things are going up. We just got a new inflation figure in the United States just yesterday. It's still up there. So when do we have that conversation here in Nigeria, where wages are supposed to be going up in line with costs? And businesses are going to be able to stay. So people are going to have to make more money. Businesses have to make more money in order to be able to pay higher salaries. And then he was talking about tax rebates, how he wants to reduce taxes for businesses. Well, you want to reduce taxes for businesses, but you're looking for 30 billion to come from somewhere. You have to increase Nigeria's revenue. If you're cutting taxes, how are you going to increase Nigeria's revenue? So these are the questions that need to be answered, from the candidates.
Okay, so we've got tons of messages coming in. The very first one came in a few minutes ago from Pinboy VI, who says, maybe Atiku is bringing the money from his pockets. Whilst Dalvin from Yaba says, Rotus, I'm not quite sure I heard who the organizers of this debate are, but do they have an outline or framework to guide the candidates on what to talk about?
Oh, yes. I'm sorry if I didn't explain that real quick. It's the Lagos Chamber of Commerce and Industry. And in fact, Dr. Ayo Teriba, who is an economist and part of the economists and statistics team, before Atiku spoke, he came out and said, look, these are the specific things I want you to address. So yeah, it's the Lagos Chamber of Commerce and Industry.
All right, and more coming in. Prince says, no president can unilaterally remove power from the exclusive legislative list without 2/3 of the state's houses of assembly. And again, the National Assembly has already removed power from the exclusive list in the current ongoing constitutional amendments, waiting for state assemblies to vote on that. Whilst Gilbert Musa from Festac says, in my thinking, Atiku's speech is impressive, but what did his party achieve from 1999 until May 29, 2015? Was there a visible positive impact on the average Nigerian citizen? Ogeno Chuko says, it will take a courageous leader to effect change. When there is a will, there is a way. He also says Nigerian electorates should look out for credibility, capacity, commitment. Solving the power issue is to provide all consumers. There's a local firm producing smart meters in Osun State. And
but go ahead. Yeah, go ahead.
Lots more messages, so you might want to.
Okay, keep going.
Emeka says the most important thing that we need to progress is to institute the rule of law and strong independent institutions. Investors will come. While Yinka Bolu says Nigerians want to live the Canadian life in Nigeria, but don't want to pay Canada-like bills. That's the problem and the truth that all the candidates are not talking about. And I'll take one more message because we've come to the end of the show. Ned says Nigeria's problems are not that hard to solve. The problem is in the models we're using right from the Constitution. If we restructure and decentralize power, education, hard mineral resources, etc., you generate more money, create more jobs, and solve 70% of our problems. All right.
Optimistic. Well, I like that. Optimistic messages there from our listeners. I like that.
Thank you all for joining the conversation. Absolutely fantastic to hear all of your feedback and your comments and your suggestions to make this country better. Make sure you keep on tweeting and messaging. Go up on Twitter and find @Rotankot. That is Rotus. Like he said, he was live tweeting all throughout yesterday, was it? And go and check what he has to say. And of course, we are at Smooth 981 FM.